Hello and welcome everybody to the Skill Bharat Samman podcast. And today we have with us Ms. Deepa Bhushan from CP Goenka International Group of Schools. And Miss, if you could please introduce yourself and about your school as well.
Uh, well, I'm an educator, a facilitator. Uh, Started my journey by teaching young children from preschool, moved to teaching the higher grades, moved to doing curriculum design, to leading a school, to leading many schools.
Wow.
Uh, so that's been my journey. And of course, CP Goenka International Schools, everyone is aware of. uh, a front runner in schools, which looks into the complete development of students and builds confidence and takes children uh, to a great pathway into the future.
Absolutely, ma'am. And I love how you started off with the first thing, firstly, an educator, a facilitator. You didn't say I'm a director, principal, or I'm a director. You said I'm an educator first. So that's the quality of the people who are running, big organizations like you. So my first question to start off the entire podcast is, everybody says skills today. Skills has become a little bit of a jargon word, but you guys have actually not only said it but practically implemented it in your schools. So we would like to, like all the schools who are watching this would like to know and set you as an example that what all are you implementing and how are you implementing in your group of schools so that they can learn from it and maybe implement it any one unique story of a child after they finished learning a skill.
So, well, when we look at children, we know that we need to equip them for the life they have ahead of in the future, but taking into account their today and ensuring that their childhood, the joy of childhood is also there, the joy of
Right.
learning is maintained. So along with the academic skills that we look at, we're also looking at life skills. um, so we look at it in this way. When you look at the 21st century skills, you look at learning skills, literacy skills, as well as life skills. So when we design the curriculum, or we look at what the boards offer and how we want to deliver the programs in our school, we keep these three areas as focus areas. So when we're looking at learning skills, we're looking at how can we ensure critical thinking uh, is built into the program, is a part of every subject, because curriculum is taught in subjects, but how do you
Right.
ensure that there's depth, there's richness in it?
Right.
When you're teaching creativity, creativity is not necessarily only the arts. It's in every space, including science, including math, how you apply for out of the box solutions, what are the things that you can do. So every space. We're also building collaboration, because we know that in the future, collaboration, and even today, I wouldn't even say just the future, but even today, there's nothing that can happen without collaboration. And you can build on collaboration. So, it's literally like it's the combined intelligence of so many people. We expect diversity, right? We expect it and we accept it.
Right.
And how do you make the most of it? So that comes
Absolutely.
from that space. And of course, communication skills. I don't even need to elaborate on that. So those are spaces. And when you look at the
Right.
literacy skills, you have information literacy, making sense of everything around you. Media, I mean, we've been bombarded, but to give children that space of understanding, where you need to stop, what you need to do, how do you make sense of all the information and content that's coming your way, and still keep your own perspective in the right direction. That's so important. And of course, technology, something that kids are working well with. So understanding how do you work with it ethically. right? So the technical aspect of it is, of course, there,
Yeah.
which you're equipping your students, but to understand how do you do it in the right manner. I always say this, you know, we want our children to have a voice. And that's something that we are building as a skill in our children, but how to have it in the right manner. So have a voice, but in the right manner, at the right place, at the right time. How do you communicate well? All these aspects come into play. And then, of course,
Correct.
are the life skills, flexibility, leadership, resilience, persistence, initiative. All these are, your social skills, all these need to be developed. So there's so much that's happening. And along with all this, I think, something that's the core of what we do is value building, right? So the uh, I don't know how to call value a skill really, but it's the most important aspect. Yeah, that underlies all skills. And so just to give a small example, one of our students, all our students were sent to an orphanage, um, you know, and an old age home, to kind of understand that, how privileged we are and to be grateful and to have gratitude for whatever we do. And when the children came back from the old age home, they'd done so much for the children, the elderly people there. So orphanage was the children and the elderly people there. And when they came back, so one of the children said that I will never send my parents to an old age home. And for us, that in itself was a lot of learning that the child had. So that
Wow.
was
Absolutely. I really loved from the start till the end. Like I was so hooked. There are so many skills you are providing to an individual child. Together, when you said collaboration, imagine all the skills come together and what wonders they can do. So that's a really, really great thing. And especially the child when he said, "Ki I will never send my parents to an old age home," which is a value that you'll added, as you said, below all skills comes this value. So definitely. And another question is, Miss, I've been hearing like AI is going to replace all jobs, and Chat GPT has come in, and content creators are out of jobs soon. More and more GPTs will come in, and more careers and professions which we've been preparing our kids for are now going to be out of the question. So what are the steps you are taking to avoid this, or what is your perspective on this entire statement?
so. One of the things I believe is that from every generation, there has been change. There has been change in every generation. So whether you look at, um, you know, uh, the industrial revolution when that happened to currently where when the knowledge we were in the knowledge economy, then we've moved further on. Now when we've moved across generations, jobs have evolved. So I think what when we're saying that content creators may no longer have a job because of chat gpt or because of ai, uh, everyone will have to equip themselves for that change. It's like this. So when we used to have cameras, correct, at that point of time you only had those normal cameras. Then came in the digital, then came in our phones, and then it finished the industry of the regular cameras.
Right.
So this evolved over a period of time, and I think people also evolved with this. So people also changed how they were working accordingly. And that's something that's going to happen in the future also. So jobs will change. We may not be able to, state that what's going to be in the future, but uh, what we can give children is the ability to change, to
Hmm.
deal with change, the critical thinking that is required. So if I have to adapt myself, so adapting to change, all these elements, if we are able to support children with, to give them life lessons in, I think they will be able to move forward with any kind of change in jobs, evolution in the economies, and that's going to happen. That's an accepted.
Correct.
So, how that's what we need to do as educators, right? Bring about that support and give the opportunities for children to develop the adaptability to change.
Hmm. Absolutely. And Miss, what are your thoughts on entrepreneurship for kids? Like, should kids, we just spoke about jobs, but now let's talk about, should they think of their ideas to come into reality, or what are your thoughts on kids starting up?
I think it's fabulous. I am in awe of children who are able to do that. And one of the things that I do believe is um, children are curious. Yeah. They are not bogged down by mistakes so much. It's us adults who get them bogged down by the mistakes. So they are ready to take risks. They are ready to try. They are ready to think out of the box because they don't have those parallels in which they are blocked, and they are ready to take in new experiences. And I think that's something which is very important for entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's dive deep into the rapid fire round. So it's going to be me asking a question and you'll have to respond in one word only. Okay. And whatever the first word comes to your mind, not you have to think too long about the answer. Okay. So first question is that, example, you're a student, you have a board exam coming up the very next day, and at the at the same time and date, you have an international swimming competition. Which one would you go for?
I would go for my board exam.
Okay. And
I'm safe that way.
which one would you advise your students to go for?
Well, I'd say go for both.
Okay, interesting. The second question is that, if you were given a choice to go back to school, what would you learn?
Well, I would financial literacy.
Okay, that's great. If you had all the resources, all the money in the world, all the infrastructure, all the teachers, what would you teach your students?
My students, I would teach them how to be happy and how to find joy in everything they do.
Oh, wow. Interesting. And, if you could be like if you had a choice to make everyone a job creator in your school, and is that something like if you had a button, you could click it and everybody would start now thinking about how to create jobs instead of uh, join jobs. But at the same time, everybody would create jobs, but then everybody would not. There's no enough people to become the people who take up jobs. So what I'm trying to say is, if everybody becomes a job creator, nobody will become a job seeker. So if you had that button to flip, and you could change the entire world like that, what would you do? Would you flip it or no?
Well, I'd flip it, I'd shut it back again, and then I'd flip it to the other side because you'd need both.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it makes completely all sense. And thanks a lot. This was the last question. So thanks a lot for your time on evening after your working hours as well. And thank you so much for joining. And
Thank
that's
you. I enjoyed, Shans. Thank you so
it.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.